What about the New York State DREAM Act and other state initiatives? I mean, do you think that they're effective or just kind of, furthering the problem where students are going to end up with a college degree but still no status that can get them a job?
I think the efforts that youth have tried to bring forth in their local communities and their states are tremendous steps towards what we'd like to see for ourselves, which is more inclusion and just recognition from your community that you belong. And it's kind of like what I was saying before in terms of being a New Yorker. If in any place across the country, if that's something that people recognize, that you can be a New Yorker based on the fact that you just live here and that you belong here and you contribute to this city and this state, that's New York. That's it's known as the city is known as the city of immigrants, and the state certainly has a huge immigrant population. And so efforts to really ensure that immigrants are as included as possible under state law are important. And they also are a way of fighting back against states that have been going in the opposite direction, which is taking away immigrant rights. So I think they have an important place in the immigrant rights movement, and I hope that the federal government will take a cue from states that have been attempting to pass these favorable measures and really fight for kind of more comprehensive reform.
So what do you think about the fact that it's youth trying to get all these, trying to get all this change? Have you seen steps being taken by immigrants who are much older? And do you think, what do you think about that? What would you like to see from older immigrants?
Well, I think one of the most powerful features of the DREAM Act and the Dreamers is that it really is the youth who are fighting for these rights for themselves and for their families too. They're coming out there, undocumented and unafraid to really showcase what the immigration laws are doing. And that's important because a lot of people don't even realize the effect that these laws have on individuals. And having youth be the face of the movement and the real drivers behind the movement is incredibly important. I think the parents of immigrants and others who are affected by the system have also been fighting for change as well. And, there are some incredible groups across the country that have been standing out on the street corners all the way to, the offices of members of Congress with their own stories and explaining how deportation has really torn apart their families. There's an organization in New York City called Families for Freedom, which is made up of immigrants who are directly affected by deportation and detention and their family members. And, that organization has gone, to the churches and the community groups, to the mayor's offices, and to Congress people to really ask for change because like the youth in the DREAM Act movement that have seen their own hopes and dreams being torn apart, these are parents and spouses who have lost their loved ones to the system. So I think the DREAM Act has been incredibly powerful because youth across the country have really mobilized around these issues, and I think there are a lot of other people out there who are affected by the laws who have been fighting for a long time and can kind of continue to build that power. And the DREAM Act, a success on the DREAM Act would mean not only would youth be helped, but it would open the door for immigrants who are fighting for a whole set of rights to be able to say, look, we can do something and we can fight for our own families. So this coming from the people directly affected is far more powerful than this movement coming from anyone else.
Have you had any cases that directly relate to the DREAM Act or these family-led social change groups?
Okay, well, we work with several organizations and individuals who care very deeply about the DREAM Act. Many of our clients over the years would be beneficiaries of the DREAM Act, and it is heartbreaking to see every year the DREAM Act not pass because we see, our clients' lives on hold. where, the ability to be fully integrated into American society, to be able to drive, to work, and to go to school, like the basic things that we all take for granted, their lives are on hold as Congress kind of continues to fail to act. And we work with a lot of organizations that are taking this effort into their own hands. We work with the New York State Youth Leadership Council in their efforts in terms of the New York DREAM Act. We work with Families for Freedom, and we work with a number of groups that really are working on behalf of people directly affected. Their membership includes people who are directly affected, and they really want to see change.